and you're watching This Week Yesterday, Com 450 edition. Tonight, our main topic is prison labor. Not to be confused with slavery, since they're not similar whatsoever. I mean, one gets free room and board, ripped away from their families, denied visitation with children that live elsewhere, and many never expect to see freedom. And the other was outlawed in 1865 with the ratification of the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment outlawed slavery and other forms of forced labor, except, and I quote, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. According to the 38th Congress, being in prison just wasn't enough, I guess. You still had to work too. Here's a quick clip to show you about the exploitation of prisoners.
Problem. Most prisoners want to work, and jobs for prisoners can be a very positive thing.
That's David Fauti from the ACLU's National Prison Project.
But given the vast power inequality between prisoners and their employers, there's also a real potential for exploitation and abuse.
That potential is grounded in the fact that this really is slave labor. Inmates can be forced to work as long as they're deemed fit, and can be punished if they don't, including, in some cases, with solitary confinement. And then there's the question of money. We don't have to pay prisoners a dime for their work.
Back to modern-day slavery. Sorry, I mean prison labor. According to Prison Policy Initiative, there are over 2.3 million people incarcerated in the United States. Approximately 1,618,000 of those people are convicted and possibly eligible to be put to work. That's approximately the size of the city of Phoenix, Arizona, meaning there is no shortage of labor. While the minimum wage in Phoenix is $11 per hour, on average, prisoners across the U.S. are paid typically from 14 cents to $1.41, according to Prison Policy Initiative in 2017. Imagine if all of the people of the city of Phoenix were being paid less than $2 per hour. They'd be rioting in the streets if they wouldn't die from standing out in the heat of Arizona. But hey, the pay isn't that bad, right? Maybe they can buy themselves a bag of chips from the commissary? And I mean, it can't be all that bad, right? Just like the movies, stamping license plates and serving gruel in the mess hall, like the women in the hit Netflix show Orange is the New Black? Wrong. California has inmates fighting wildfires for $1 per hour, according to CNBC. Yes, you heard that correctly. $1 single. Here, thanks for fighting a fire. Here's a portrait of George Washington. And the East Coast isn't any better. According to documents found online from Corcraft, the company that manages goods and services from the state prisons in New York State has been having inmates clean mold, asbestos, and fecal matter. Yes, you heard that right. Mold, asbestos, and fecal matter. Wow, sounds like work people can be passionate about. And I mean, that's when Governor Cuomo isn't directing them to bottle hand sanitizer. What a dream job! Or when he isn't having inmates at Rikers bury the dead at Hart Island from the coronavirus, according to CNN. But hey, at least they're giving them masks and gloves. Oh, I'm being told that we have a quick message from today's sponsor. We'll be right back after this message.
Are you the owner of a multi-million-dollar company? Do you struggle to find labor at cheap cost? At Prison Labor Solutions, we have an answer for you. By using prison labor, you are ensuring that your work will get done because the prisoners have no choice. Better yet, you can keep all the profits to yourself because you have to pay your workers next to nothing. If you are interested, contact your local mayor and presidential candidate for more information about how you can make prisoners work for you.
Hi, welcome back. I hope that ad made you feel happy about the horrors of capitalism. Anyways, not all inmates are doing physical labor for work. Many are operating call centers. Instead of companies outsourcing labor to other countries in order to save money, they may route their customer service department through a prison call center. This offers a similar amount of savings on wages as outsourcing to other countries, while using American prisoners to take calls. This stops your racist grandpa from trying to cancel his cable when he can't understand the person on the other end of the line. The Department of Justice runs 7 of these call centers with 1,700 experienced prisoner agents to take calls. Many large companies use prison labor for their call centers, such as AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint, to name a few. By taking on contracts with large companies, states are incentivized to increase the amount of prison labor that they use due to the revenue that they're generating. Today, we're going to go a bit more in depth on prison labor being used for call centers. Not only do some of the biggest companies in America use this type of prison labor, it seems that high-profile presidential candidates do as well. A recent discovery has shown that Democratic candidate Michael Bloomberg was found to have been using prison labor to make his campaign calls. Bloomberg was discovered to have been using inmates from state prisons in both Oklahoma and New Jersey to make campaign calls for him in his bid to the White House, through the subcontractor, Procom. At his age, it's no wonder that he was using prisoners to do his calling. If you had Bloomberg on the line, you'd just be yelling, "Hello? Hello? Are you there? Are you there?" for a good hour back and forth like you do with your grandparents. Through Twitter, the campaign released a statement, but did not comment on the matter anywhere else. Seriously, not a single representative on any major news source. The only ones who really talked about this story were the Young Turks and alt-right YouTube edgelords like this dude, Sticks Hex and Hammer 666, aka Tarl Warwick. Yes, I said his name is Tarl, who likes to upload videos on politics, the occult, and his Brussels sprouts. In the statement, Bloomberg's team claims that they just learned of this, which indicates that they had no knowledge of labor that was being used on their own campaign. They have since ended their relationship with Procom. In other words, the richest man in the election was using slavery. Sorry, not slavery, prison labor, because they're oh so different, as a method of campaigning, and expects us to believe that he was completely unaware of it?
Time again, politician gets caught doing something scummy, they say that they don't have any clue that they were doing anything scummy. So are you telling me that you're dumb? Because if you're dumb, I don't want you to be the president of the United States.
Wow, our favorite edgelord, Sticks Hex and Hammer 666, Tarl, actually has a point. What a great way for Mike to start his presidential campaign. While he is trying to appeal to the young voters of the Democratic Party, he is going against many voters' left-leaning beliefs involving prison and bail reform and minimum wage. He could claim that this does not reflect his beliefs as much as he'd like, but if it didn't reflect his beliefs, wouldn't they have done more to make up for the misstep? All they did was sever ties with the contractor in hope that this story got ignored since it dropped during the holiday season. Not a single member of the Bloomberg campaign appeared on any major news network to comment on the matter. But at least they stopped using prison labor, right? Really took the full 20 seconds to wash their hands clean? The Bloomberg campaign thinks they can write this off as Procom's fault, though there is no world in which they weren't aware of this. Someone representing that campaign signed the dotted line, hiring a vendor in the subcontractor Procom for the usage of prison call centers to make campaign calls. While none of us ever like reading the terms and agreements and just click agree, giving away our souls and data to whichever company we please, it was someone's job on that campaign to read the terms and conditions of that contract. If you are getting paid to read the fine print, you don't get to just check agree and ignore the fine print. Either the person that signed that agreement didn't read it, failing to do their job, or they saw that and just didn't care. And isn't that what this all comes down to? Not caring? Because this had to have been a decision that went through multiple people who didn't care that they were exploiting some of our most vulnerable citizens. It is vital that we understand here that prisoners have absolutely zero right to vote, that they are unable to participate in the democratic process in any way while they are behind bars. So why in the world is it acceptable for them to be forced to make campaign calls for a candidate of any kind? If these prisoners had a choice on which candidate to call for, I doubt they would have chosen this scumbag. What prisoner would campaign for a man that increased stop and frisk? In what world? No one by choice wanted to campaign or volunteer for Bloomberg and make calls. That's why he needed prisoners to make his damn campaign calls. To sum up, the fact that this even happened is absolutely outrageous. One of the wealthiest candidates we've ever seen has used inmates from multiple state prisons who would not have the choice to choose what candidate to help, since they do not get to choose the contracts taken on by the prison, to lobby for his campaign. Now, Bloomberg dropped out of the race over a month ago, but the fact that his usage of prison labor didn't cause more outrage when the story broke back in December is what really matters now. Remember how I mentioned a few minutes ago the person who signed the contract didn't care that they were using prison labor and exploiting vulnerable populations? The ignoring of this story by the media and the American people shows how little that we, as Americans, care about our prisoners. We lead lives of ignorance regarding what goes on for those behind bars and how they're being exploited by companies and our government every single day. And while Bloomberg wasn't the nominee this election, the American people basically ignored his usage of modern-day slavery, because that's what it is, modern-day slavery. That begs the question, when another candidate is found to be using prison labor, will we care then? And yes, I said when, not if, because it will happen. Will it be the issue that makes or breaks their campaign? That will be up to you. So when this happens again, you'll have to decide with your vote if it's okay to exploit our most vulnerable population or put the pressure on candidates to treat our prisoners with respect. Because at the end of the day, they may have committed a crime, but they are prisoners. They are not chattel. They are not slaves, but citizens of this country that upon their freedom deserve the chance at life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Whether they find that happiness in baking sourdough, phone banking for candidates, or even watching videos of our favorite edgelord and his Brussels sprouts. Thank you, and good night.